The Internet and the World Wide Web. Now, most people use the terms Internet and World Wide Web interchangeably, as if they mean the same thing. For example, when you go to look at a YouTube video, you say you're going on the Internet. Or when you go to check your email, you say you're on the web. Now, both of these things are technically incorrect. Now, realistically, it doesn't really matter that much. Unless you're going for that, I'm never going to get a date aura at the Uber Nerd party, or unless you're really trying to impress your parents with how much knowledge you're accumulating with that great Western education. And trust me, this is great dinner conversation. But in discussing how the Internet and the World Wide Web operate, it's a very different story. Here it matters very much that they're different. And in understanding these concepts, understanding how these two are separate but related things. So to understand this, first we need some background knowledge. Are you ready? Okay, first, understand that a computer is an electronic device. This device actually only knows one thing, and that thing is the presence or the absence of an electric charge. Now, the presence of an electric charge is considered on, and the absence of the charge is considered off. But us computers people found it very inconvenient and actually quite mind-numbing to constantly talk about on, off, on, off. So we labeled these two states, either 1 or 0. We use 1 for on and 0 for off. This also had the great side effect of allowing us to group these together. Now, these charges come in a continuous flow. This flow is a sequence of on and offs in all combinations. And we can group these sequences into discrete parts. Each on or off, or each 1 or 0, is a bit. And we actually group 8 bits together to form what we call a byte. Then we created a code, kind of like a secret agent thing, only in this case everyone knows what the code is. And this code is where each byte represents a single character. You put a lot of these bytes together and you've got words, and you've got computers' instructions, and pictures, and movies with cats playing the piano, and really, who can turn away from that cat playing the piano image? Okay, so now you have all these pulses in your computer that make up something, and now you want to share it with the world. How are you going to do this? Simple. Send these pulses out from your computer to another computer. If only there was some way to do this, if there was only some connection. And of course, and no spoiler alert here, you know there already is such a connection existing. This is the Internet. Your computer sends these pulses through a wire on your computer, or more commonly these days is through the airwaves as Wi-Fi. Now quick, stop and think for a second. What does Wi-Fi stand for? Isn't it funny? It's a term that we use at least once every day, and how many of us even know what Wi-Fi is an acronym for? Well, look it up, kids, you'll find out. Anyway, our computer sends these pulses from your computer to another computer. Only it's not that simple. It goes through layers from your computer to a router, through a domain server, via a web server, to go from your computer to another, or versa vice. We're going to go into more details about this part later in the class notes. But for now, and this is the thing you have to know, this is the Internet. The transmission of these pulses from source to destination, the sending of these ones and zeros, this is the Internet. The Internet is not that thing on your computer. It's just a mechanism of transporting ones and zeros around the world. Alright, so what? And what is it then that I'm actually looking at to see and hear this lesson? Well, after the Internet was invented, most information was just text. Yes, I know. Remember those DOS days, nothing on the screen but the little green text? But then we came up with a method of viewing these ones and zeros in a graphical format. Computer programs called browsers were created. Now, there are different browsers out there, and people have got their favorite or one they just happen to always use. Two of the more popular browsers that are out there is the Microsoft Internet Explorer and the Mozilla Firefox. But understand, these are just programs. Just like Word and Excel and even Solitaire are just programs that run in your computer, browsers are just computer program code executing. And as a program, they have nothing directly to do with the Internet. You could actually unplug your computer from the net, or turn off your Wi-Fi or whatever, and the browser itself will still run in your computer. It'll come up with a message telling you that there's no connection, that there's nothing to be seen, but the program itself, the browser, is still working. So what does the browser do? The browser takes those pulses from the Internet and translates them into content you see as a web page. How does it do this? Really simple. Remember, the pulses are grouped into bytes, which we equate with characters. And characters, letters, symbols, pretty much anything that's on the keyboard. Now these characters can be arranged to form instructions on your browsers on how to display the content onto your computer screen. One type of instruction set is known as the hypertext markup language, or more commonly referred to as HTML. And HTML is actually quite simple. Everything in HTML is either a tag or it's actual content. We're going to be learning about these tags in our first lesson. But for now, know that what you're looking at inside your browser is a web page. These web pages are grouped together in a computer that are connected to the internet. When you flip a web page, it's part of a specific website. Now every page must belong to a website. And each website has an address of where it's stored. This website's stored somewhere in the internet, and you're going to be calling it up. That's what you view on your browser when you do. You call up the website by typing in www.something.something on your browser. The browser sends this as a command to the internet to return the ones and zeros from that website to your browser. Your browser then translates the markup code that gets returned to display the content you're seeing on the screen. This is how the World Wide Web and the internet work together to display the content on your computer screen. But they are different. A good example of this would be like making a cup of perk coffee. The water itself is the raw data. Now it's delivered to your home through a series of pipes. You don't know how those pipes are connected. All you know is you turn the faucet on, out comes water. The percolator transforms that raw water into coffee. So the pipes are the internet, and the percolator is your browser. These are two different things. The pipe and the percolator are not the same thing. But together they're used to reconstitute your water, the raw data, into coffee to display on your monitor. So, now you know and you've got an understanding of what the difference is between the internet and the World Wide Web, and now you know how they work together. Now you're ready for the next step, which is the first lesson on learning how to make web pages.